Another article you wrote, 3 players who have to step up in the second half of the season if the Browns are going to make the run they want to.
Yeah, and I think, again, it's kind of funny looking back on it, as I was writing these, both of these articles kind of focused on the defense, and I think that's right. I mean, we've had so many questions about that unit that guys have popped that we didn't expect, and guys that we did expect to pop early on necessarily haven't. So, like, one guy I focused on for that was Greg Newsome, for example, right? Greg Newsome hasn't played poorly, really, this year. He's shown off his speed a handful of times. I think of that amazing chase down tackle he had of Austin Eckler against the Chargers. But I think what this defense needs is some game-changing plays, and Greg Newsome is still in search of his first career interception. I know he was jonesing for that at the end of last season, and he still hasn't been able to pick anybody off yet this year. So I think they're really, especially with Denzel Ward working his way back from the concussion protocol, I think a few of those game-changing plays from Greg Newsome could go a long way. I mentioned JOK in the last article, but really, he's another guy, too, that I've singled out here just because I think injuries have really kind of slowed him down again this year in a way that we didn't expect. Now, I think what's interesting is we kind of saw him, I think, at his best against the Baltimore Ravens when he was shadowing Lamar Jackson, and you really got to see his athleticism. He, of course, forced that fumble that Isaiah Thomas recovered at the end of the game. But then he was out with an injury all of Cincinnati week and obviously didn't play in the game. So, again, I think him just being available and getting healthy are key. I'm really curious to see what he looks like after this week. And then another guy who's kind of been in a similar boat, I would argue to a worse extent, is Jadeveon Clowney, just nagging injuries repeatedly. He suffered that ankle injury against the Jets, wasn't able to be out there for a couple weeks, got back, and then the following 3 days at practice, he showed up with about 3 injuries on their injury report and had to sit out again. And so he's just kind of been in and out and hasn't really been able to replicate so far all of that pressure and, really stout run defense that he did last season. And I know he entered the offseason saying it was the healthiest he had felt in a long time. So it's too bad that didn't carry over into the early part of the season. But with him and JOK especially, I think the Browns need some big plays from them. I think those guys getting healthy will go a long way to solving a lot of the problems that this defense had in the first half of the year.
Yeah, I would agree. Those are guys that are quick too, that the speed guys that can make the game-changing type plays on defense that the Browns are looking for.